Hey, what's up? John Sonmez from SimpleProgrammer.com. So if you haven't heard already, I am launching a real estate course. It's actually out in the beta form. You can kind of check it out here if you're interested. It's not the full launch yet. I'm putting together some more pieces to it. If you did happen to buy it now, it depends on when you're watching this video. Maybe it is fully launched at this point. Depends on when you're watching it. Like I said, if you did, you would get all the bonuses once they get put in there. So there's more to it than what you see there. But anyway, I have been getting a lot of questions about real estate investment. If you know my story, part of the reason why I was able to, a large part of the reason why I was able to retire fairly young, a few years ago, is because of my real estate investments, right? So, if you don't know, I have about $10,000 a month worth of passive income from real estate coming in every month. I started buying properties when I was 19 years old. You can check out my playlist on real estate stuff here if you're interested. But what I want to address today is something I was thinking about, because a lot of people, what they say is that there's a high risk involved in real estate, and I've been trying to think about how to combat that, how to tell people that there isn't a risk, right? Even though so many people think that there is a risk, and why there is no risk, why the risk can be very, very small. I mean, there's obviously going to be a risk no matter what you do in anything that you do, but why is it that real estate, so many people think it's risky, and how could it not be risky? Because in my mind, it's not risky at all, right? It's 0% risk. I got nothing that's risky about it. And so here's the thing. Here's the thing about this. So let's think about. First of all, there's a quote by Andrew Carnegie where he said, to put all your eggs in one basket and guard that basket carefully, essentially, something like that. I think it's put all your eggs in one basket and watch the basket. I think that's what it is. Put all the way to become rich is to put all your eggs in one basket and then watch that basket. So this is great. This is a great quote. By the way, I started thinking about this because I'm reading a book by Grant Cardone, who owns about $400 million worth of real estate, which is called Be Obsessed or Be Average. BOBA. Be Obsessed or Be Average. I love it. Great book. I'm going to do a review on that. But anyway, it got me thinking, because that's the whole thing. That's why. So let's put it this way, right? Okay, you are an expert in your job, right? If you're a software developer, you are an expert at that, right? You make a lot of money from your job because you're an expert, and you wouldn't do your job not being an expert. That would be silly, right? It would be so much of your life, so much of your finances, so much of your future is tied to the money that you make from your job, right? Am I right here, right? So you're an expert on that. You wouldn't let someone else be the expert on that and not care and just show up for work, right? You have to be an expert. You want to know a lot of information and be good at your job and understand it and be an expert, because that's your money, that's your future, right? So with finances, aside from the job, so many of us take the opposite approach. We don't do that, right? And so we just invest in our 401k or whatever, listen to what the pundits say, and listen to our financial advisors and all that. By the way, if you want to hear my thoughts on financial advisors, I did do a video on that. I don't like them. Anyway, I tend to disagree with them. So here's the thing. Okay, so going back to the real estate. If you put your eggs in that basket and you watch that basket, what that means to me is, if you're an expert, right? So you can mitigate the risk of real estate by a huge degree, not 100%, right? I mean, there's always going to be some kind of risk, but by a huge degree, just by becoming an expert in real estate investment. And it's not that hard, right? That's the whole thing. I think that's why I put together the course initially, is I wanted to show you that it's really not that hard. And if you develop these expertise, and when you think about it this way, right? The money that you invest in real estate is, over the course of, let's say, 20 or 30 years, is going to, if you invest correctly, if you do become an expert, it's going to be more than you make from your job, right? So you're investing all this time, right? How much time do you spend investing in your education to become better at your job, to learn to be a better programmer? Or if you're not a programmer, whatever you do, maybe you went to college for 4 years, you invested all this money and all this time, or you go to tutorials at boot camp, you watch videos, right? You do all this work to become an expert in this so that you can make what? Like, your salary, $100,000 a year, if you're lucky. Some of you a lot less than that, some of you some more than that, right? But somewhere around that. Whereas if you invested in real estate, right, over 30 years, you could make millions of dollars, like literally millions of dollars. Like I'm not exaggerating because I've done it. Right? I mean, and I didn't know what I was doing from the beginning, but I became an expert on that, right? It wasn't, I'm not going to say it was easy, but I'll tell you, between becoming an expert in software development, which made me a lot less money, well, arguably, it depends. I'm in my career itself as working for someone else, it made me a lot less money than real estate. The time, the effort it took me to become an expert in software development was way, way, way more for much less reward, aside from the Pluralsight and all that, but at a base level, working for someone else, than it did for me to become an expert in real estate. Like the education that I got in real estate investment, there's a lot. I had to learn a lot. I know a lot. I've really increased my depth of it because that's how I'm able to teach other people about it. But that was less, right? And it's made me more money, right? And it's made me money passively. So what I'm saying here is basically this. Look, if you want to reduce your risk, and this doesn't just apply to real estate, but I'm using it here because this is the one where people are like, well, John, but real estate's so risky. I don't understand. It's so I don't want to take that risk. I'm afraid, right? My answer to you is simply this. Become an expert. Then the risk disappears, right? Because if you know what you're doing, if you've got expertise, you're not going to make a mistake or make huge mistakes, right? So it's simple to mitigate. It's that whole, like I said, put your eggs in one basket and watch that basket. As long as you're watching the basket. If you put your eggs in the basket and you're not watching the basket, if you're not an expert, right? And this applies, again, outside of real estate, just in finances in general, because so many of you, what you're doing is you're taking your money, right, that you're working so hard for this money, and you're just dropping in 401k, you're just dropping into a retirement plan, or you're just dropping it over to your financial advisor, or you're stupid and you're just investing in stocks, like picking them yourself as if not really being educated about this stuff, but just like playing around in the stock market. I can only say that because I've been there and I've done that and I've been stupid, right? Thinking lost 10 grand or whatever, doing that, a lot of us have been there. So don't do that. That's so dumb. Be smart. Be an expert at a thing and develop an expertise, and then put all the eggs in that basket, right? All of my eggs are essentially in the real estate basket. I don't have any 401k, I don't have any retirement plans, I don't have any other investments really, aside from my business, because I can control that, because I am such an expert in that area that I can guarantee, I can get abnormal returns. I can get better than average returns. I can reduce the risk down to a tiny, tiny fraction by having that expertise. So that's my answer. That's the real, because I've been trying to think of, like I said, how do I convince people? How do I say real estate isn't risky? How do I get you to understand that? And the answer is, it is risky, but it's not risky for me. And why? Because I'm an expert, because I've developed the expertise. It doesn't take you a long time. Again, if you want to check it out, I've got a course that will help you to start to develop the expertise. It's not going to give you everything you need, but it's going to give you everything you need to get started, right? You're going to still have to fill in your education. You can check that out. And I'm going to be launching that, if I haven't already. But do an official launch with a bunch of tools and a lot of other, I've got some pretty cool stuff planned for it, for the official launch. But if you want to get in now, you can get in now and get feedback or give me feedback and be part of, what ends up being created with the bonuses and all the other supplements. But that's the thing, right? If you want to do this, you can. Anyone can do this. Anyone can be an expert. It's not that hard. It does require some work. You're going to have to learn some stuff. But if you learn it and you invest that time, think about what kind of an investment it is, education-wise also. Like investing in real estate, learning enough, or investing in learning about real estate investment, right? To be able to buy properties, to be able to invest successfully in real estate, it's like, yeah, you're going to pay a cost up front. It's going to take you some time, right? You might even make some mistakes. But if you learn this now, right, and let's say it takes you a year or 2 years to master this, to become what you consider an expert, you're going to get benefits for the rest of your life and your children's life as you pass on. This is not like a retirement plan. Like, you're building a legacy here. Like, these assets don't disappear. They just keep on kicking off cash forever, right? You're building an actual legacy, a real estate. So there's a huge benefit to investing a little bit of time and maybe some money in learning, and then you get to benefit it for the rest of your life, as opposed to software development career where you have to keep on learning every single year. Like, I mean, there's the base that you learn. But anyway, I hope I've clarified that. I hope that makes sense to those of you that are looking for, there's no shortcuts in life. I'm not trying to say that, but what I am saying is that you can mitigate risk. And again, I'm not just talking real estate here, but by becoming an expert in things. I did this video on the areas of your life you should master. Check that out, right? One of them is finance. One of them is fitness, I think, as well. But definitely, if you're thinking about doing real estate investment, you can reduce the risk. You absolutely can, but it's going to require work. It's not just going to be an instant thing like dropping money in your 401k, if that makes sense. So anyway, that's all I got to say about this. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel. You can always check out the real estate playlist, and I will talk to you next time. Take care.